I want to say something to you, whether you can grasp it in this moment or not, but I'm going to tell you that there is nothing outside of any one of you sitting in this room. There's nothing outside of any one of you. I know what your perceptions are because I have shared the same perceptions. I have shared the same reality. I have fought against things that I didn't like, that didn't feel good. I have fought against them my entire life. But 2010 has been a year of real transformation where I'm stepping into my power and I'm learning to integrate the parts of me in a way that I've never been able to do quite the same way before. My concept of God is that God is all. Everything. In all. It is creator. It is the spirit that permeates all matter. And spirit is masculine. And form is feminine. My mind is like spirit. It is masculine. So is yours. If you don't agree, that's okay. I'm not trying to win an argument or anything. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. But my heart is feminine. It is receptive and compassionate and nurturing and loving. Now, how many of you in your New Age or New Thought Christian journey have taught that the mind has to be shut up and stopped? How many of you have been told that your mind is your ego and you've got to fight it all the while? How many of you have brought the Christian warfare into your New Thought practices? But you still have the warfare going on inside of you where you're fighting yourself. And there's nothing outside of you. But what do you see outside of you? If not a reflection of what's going on inside of you. And that works that way. That's the way it's all been designed. Because we chose to go on this journey with amnesia. We chose to come into physical form where it looked like this is me and that's you and we're not the same. Right? Haven't we all perceived that I am not you and you are not me? It's really easy to do when we live in these spacesuits, as Scott calls them. It's real easy to do. The difficult task is to see the connection that's invisible. How many of you think fish, or marine mammals that swim in the ocean, understand the medium they're in? Now, dolphins and whales, bear in mind, are very intelligent beings. They're not stupid. How many of them do you suppose perceive the water? How many of us perceive the spirit in which we live and move and have our being? How many of you want peace in the world? How many of you would like to see a more peaceful planet? Is there anybody that doesn't want to see that? Now, how do you suppose the world got to where it is? How do you suppose all this that seems to be out there, do you think it just happened that way? Now, granted, I believe in conspiracy theories. I believe that governments do not have our best interest at heart. I am convinced that that's true. And I'm not going to dwell on that, but I'm about to say this. That is my ego still trying to play the separation game. Still thinking that the perception in physical reality is all there is. But we're waking up. We're waking up in many ways. All of us at different rates in our development. And spirit is turning on the light, turning up the heat, opening hearts that are willing to be opened, opening minds that are willing to get out of their tunnel vision and their narrow thinking, and allowing us to see the world collectively, the way that prophets and mystics and seers have been able to see it from time immemorial. They have always been able to see beyond the illusion. Now, you and me and the common Joe on the street, the everyday person on the street, you're not common. There's nothing common about any of us. We're all uncommonly common. We're all the same because we're all cut from the same fabric. And reconciliation is a way of declaring peace. What does reconciliation mean to me? How many of you have been taught that meditation means to quiet the mind? Has anyone not heard that teaching? How many of you succeed in quieting the mind? I mean, the truth. I'm not talking about for 30 seconds. Can you do it for 10 minutes? 5 minutes? I don't think there's many people on this planet that can. Maybe there are, God bless them. I'm not one of them. Spirit at a shamanic journey said to me this when I was trying to quiet the mind. Will you stop fighting your mind and let it flow and observe where it takes you? And I was frustrated because I couldn't get my mind to shut up. And the second part of the shamanic journey, I swam with whales and dolphins to the bottom of the ocean. And a strange thing happened. The lights came on the further down into the subconscious, which is what the ocean stands for in dreams. The lights were coming on as we went down. But when we got to the bottom, we were shot. We just went like a torpedo back to the surface, and when we broke the surface, we flew as eagles. And the shaman who was leading the journey heard the song of the dolphins and the whales in my journey and was still talking about it 6 months later. When I heard her tell another person, I had to go, he brought out the lady in white. She was dressed in black, but she had to go back to her tent and change into white. Why am I telling you this? Why am I sharing this part of me with you? Because you are just another part of me. Because the divine and the God self that I am, you are too. And this is our hour. This is our day to declare peace and stop the insane war of one part of ourself against another part. Let it be, and give thanks and ask your eyes to be opened so that you can see the gift in the very thing that you're resisting. That's consciousness. When you're willing to embrace the thing you've always tried to run away from. When you're willing to put your arms around and your heart around the things that you consider negative, the things you consider evil. What did Jesus say? Love your enemies, do good to them that persecute you and say all manner of evil against you falsely. That's the way they've always talked about the mystics and the prophets who could see beyond the illusion of separation, which is the only illusion. Your feelings are not an illusion, they're an experience. They're feelings, they're yours. Your thoughts are not an illusion, they're your thoughts. You can fight them till you're blue in the face, but they'll win. Everything you fight will continue to come back until you lay down your weapon. I, in order to stand in my power, must be willing to stop fighting the things that I have always thought were against me. The only thing that's ever really been against me is my belief that I am separate. There is no other enemy. All ignorance comes from the belief that you are separate from life. All loneliness, all feelings of alienation, all that you call negative feelings, they don't come from fear. They come from the belief that you are separate and distinct from everything else. Of course you're going to feel loneliness when you're perceiving from that reality. Now, I'm not going to tell you that knowing that everything is interconnected delivers me from feeling alienated at times. I'm not going to try to con you into the belief that I've arrived and reached some plateau of consciousness where I no longer have dragons and demons of my own to face. What I am telling you is that I'm learning a new way to deal with my demons and dragons. And it's a way that contradicts all logical thinking from the ego mind. Love what you hate, and it transforms the hate. It transforms you. Nothing may change in your outer surroundings, but you change in your heart, in the way that you perceive and in the way that you respond. You change because you are a son. You are a daughter of God. And your job as a son and daughter of God is to reconcile all the opposites, all the differences that you have perceived as your enemy. All the things that you have fought, you reconcile them within yourself. And guess what happens to this planet when enough people get that message and start doing that? You want to see peace on earth? Peace can only reflect what's inside. That's how creation works. Like it or not, you may not agree with it. You may still want to be one of those warriors that has to defeat those things you don't like.